This episode of Trudge Report is brought to you by Accent Garage Doors. Operating in Palm Beach County, the Treasure Coast, and Brevard County, Florida, Accent Garage Doors is your most trusted and reliable source for all things garage doors. Successfully in business now for almost 20 years, Accent Garage Doors gives you the best quality materials and appliances, along with reliability, dedication, and professionalism at the best possible price. Plus, the owner is handsome and has the best Irish accent of anyone in all the land. Members of Trudge Report have personally used his services and give Accent Garage Doors 2 thumbs up and a 5-star review. We wouldn't go anywhere else for our garage door needs, and neither should you. Accent Garage Doors is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and will exceed all of your garage door needs. You can visit their website at www.accentgaragefl.com or call 772-337-7733 and ask for John. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to a very spooky episode of Trudge Report. This is a recovery-based podcast, but don't worry. If you're not sober or you're not ready to be sober or possessed, we talk about plenty of other things, including sports, trending topics, and a good bit of nonsense. My name is Shawn, and I am your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow trudgers, Corey and Greg. We hope that Bill will be joining us soon. He's having technical difficulties. Please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Our videos will still be posted each week, so you can watch episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But as always, please be sure to download on your listening platforms. Remember to like and subscribe on all social media outlets with the handle @TrudgeReportPod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and our wonderful producer and editor, who's not with us tonight. She's on business assignment in an undisclosed location, but nonetheless, Miss Janine Stella. Gentlemen, the trio, triage, possibly, happy Halloween. For those of you who will, this will air on Halloween, by the way. We're recording it a few days prior. For those of you who do not have the benefit of watching us on your watching devices, Corey and Greg are dressed up in their Halloween outfits. I implore you, as a matter of fact, I'm not even going to give it away. I implore you to go on our YouTube page and watch this video on our YouTube page. But gentlemen, good evening. Let's start with Corey, or would you like me to call you Robert Parr? Good evening. How are you, sir?
Yeah, if you know who Robert Parr is, you already know who I am, first off. But that's for the people that know. If you know, you know. I'm good. I like these fake muscles. They're almost as soft as the real deal. Look how squishy.
Very nice. Don't you want them to be hard, not soft?
Squishy boy.
Well, these are soft.
You squishy boy.
Yeah, I already ripped this costume, by the way, so that's good.
Guys, I'm ready tonight, by the way. I got a Celsius. I'm fucking fired up.
No,
that's wired up, boy.
That's a White Claw, Sean. Maybe you should learn to read.
Oh, damn.
No
wonder I can't see straight.
Yep. So, if the question is how I'm doing, I'm good.
That is the question. Yep.
We're up here in New Jersey. For Halloween.
My sentiments exactly, Greg.
Yeah, and we did so, being up here this time of year, it makes me miss being up here because we did some festivities and it's cold outside and there's leaves everywhere. I forget how pretty the leaves are.
The fall is beautiful.
That is something. I'll give you that one,
dude. And it's not even just the leaves just laying there pretty or in the trees just pretty. It's like they swirl like a nice little tornado of leaves across the street as you're driving. A
tornado of leaves, beef tornadoes.
Yep.
Tornadoes.
So that's been good. Eagles won yesterday. That was also good, but I didn't watch it, so we'll move on. But apparently it was a good one. That's for sure.
You didn't watch it?
I couldn't watch it.
You were back home and you couldn't
watch it.
Couldn't watch it.
With all the streaming services and all the money you pay, you couldn't get that damn thing on your cellular device?
Well, for one, we were out doing fall festivities.
Oh, you still gotta have it. You gotta have it in the corner and just.
I want to stay married.
Dude.
I want to stay married.
Dude. You don't let her see it. Hi, Gabby.
Yeah.
She doesn't watch these anyway. Yeah, okay, we're good. Neither does my wife.
This is probably the lamest thing in the world to her.
Yeah.
She's got better things to do.
I think so. I think that's how I think that's how my wife feels too. Like, I'm good.
Like, oh yeah, Shawn and Corey and their little hobbies.
Recently, like probably a month or two ago, I was like, oh, you should really watch this episode. She's like, oh yeah, I will. I was like, what's the last episode you've watched? She's like,
Yeah,
I'm a few behind. I was like, oh, really?
Yep.
Season 1, episode none.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like maybe this is our 38th episode, which guys, low key, like that's not nothing to sneeze at. I'm pretty sure it was like the 10th one that she last watched. So
Yeah. No, same. I've asked the same question, and it's like, oh yeah, I got to catch up on my
oh
my
yeah,
podcast. Yeah. Oh
sure.
yeah, we're in your routine podcast. I'm sure. Okay. But all fun. We're heading up to Salem on Friday. Tattoo
Now
tomorrow.
that's just you. That's just you and
Nice.
Gabby, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. Good for you, man.
I will not be. By the way, I'll just say it now so that we don't have any questions next week. I will not be entering the Conjuring house because I looked online to buy tickets and they are sold out. So I'll probably give it a drive by though. I want to see the house anyway.
I was really hoping you'd stay the night in there, and
God, no.
a demon would creep up on you and take advantage of you in your sleep.
That demon would turn the other way and be like, "Nope, I want no part of this, man."
Not
You
in
know
that
what?
costume, I don't think, though.
Yeah, dude, you got to see the bottom half of this thing. It's
Yeah.
it's
Color me intrigued.
Yeah. It's so bad.
All right.
But real quick, but I'll end it with this. I put this on for the podcast and I walk out into the living room to get everybody's reaction, of course. And Noah just looks at me and goes, "Dad, why are you in your costume? Are we going trick or treating?"
You got that poor boy's hopes up.
I was like, "No."
You got
Nope.
that poor boy's hopes up.
Yeah.
He's gonna
Ooh.
whoop you so good.
Mr. Ragnarok,
Yes,
how are you?
I'm good.
Hold on.
My brother.
For those listening and not watching, Ragnar Greg Lothian. Good day, sir.
Indeed. I'm well. I hope my fellow brethren are well too. I hope Valhalla is smiling graciously upon you. Just for everyone's information, this is indeed not a costume for me. This is an everyday garb.
This
And,
actually means you're drunk. I
That's
think.
Monday.
well,
That's
this is
typical Monday.
indeed non-alcoholic mead here. But we are after a long day of pillaging. We are
Wait, Corey, quick, spell mead.
MEAD.
Ooh.
E.
no.
I don't know.
You had it right. Don't second guess
You
yourself.
had it
Okay.
right. You had to throw that. mead in.
IMPASSE.
You can't even spell
There we go.
Versace. VO Sachi.
But
Anyway.
yeah, man, we're good, man. We're good on this this fine Monday evening, getting ready for Halloween. It's my favorite holiday of the year. I love this season of the year. I'm looking forward to going trick or treating with my girlfriend and her son this Thursday. I will again be in my normal everyday Viking garb, and he will be dressed as the Mandalorian, so that ought to be fun.
Nice.
Sweet.
Speaking of my lovely maiden, she got me this nice little prop for the podcast. So now anytime Corey says anything I don't like, I could just hit him with the chainsaw.
Is that making a sound?
It is.
You got
She's a-
put it right next. Put it
close,
right in
man.
front. Put it
Guys,
right in front.
She's a spiritual milady.
Milady. Yes.
Spiritual milady. Get it?
Yes, I do.
I don't get it.
The malady, Corey. Milady.
Oh
but
my
yeah,
god.
it's been a good week. We won one, man. We won one, and
It's the
Dude,
Ravens.
No,
we
you
look
guys look
against,
good too.
we look good against the Ravens. Jameis Winston.
Who knew? Who
Giving
knew?
all the credit to God. You know,
Well, naturally.
they asked him 3 times before the game what he did to prepare, and he just looked at her dead in the eye and goes, "Unwavering faith." I love this guy. This guy is literally like a cartoon character and a youth pastor and a football player all rolled into one. It's absolutely great. But
I will say that my Baltimore / Maryland / Pennsylvania family group thread was very, very quiet yesterday.
I'm sure they were.
And-
As was one Kyle Humphreys, who I was playing in
Yes.
fantasy football. But to his credit,
Ooh.
he is always quiet and
Yes.
just the consummate gentleman that Kyle.
He'll throw some takes out and some comments in the family group thread.
Good. Ask him how it was to get beat this week.
And it was very quiet. And my wife was out of town. She was on a women's retreat, and so she didn't get home till late last night, which was also a good thing because just like it was tough. It was a tough scene around them, but yeah, you guys look great, dude. Like, what do you throw for like 340 yards or something like that?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, it's the first 300-yard passer we've had since we scooped Joe Flacco up off of his parents' couch. So I mean, it's pretty amazing.
What happened to him? Like,
I think he has his own
Joe
couch.
Flacco.
Yeah, why'd they can him? No, but last season he took him to the freaking playoffs.
I'll tell you exactly
because Jameis is younger and better.
No, it's not even just that. It is the fact that we have a pig-headed front office and ownership and organization who went out and grossly overpaid for a guy that can't play football anymore, despite all of his off-the-field issues. He's on the field. He's absolutely dreadful. But even with all that being said, they didn't want to keep Flacco in the locker room because Flacco expressed his interest in wanting to stay, but they figured that would cause too much of a rift in the locker room and didn't want to bother King Deshaun too much. So,
I mean, I don't disagree with any of that, but I think everybody thought, hoped, and assumed he would get back to previous form, right? Like,
oh, for sure. I did. I was one of those people, it just, what kind of sucks to me. And I understand, like, it's kind of like in gambling, right? It's kind of like when we all went to Vegas and you're at the roulette table and you lose a certain amount of money and then you just got to know when to back off, man. And it was like, I just as a normal fan sitting here watching this, I can't be the genius here. You guys are, practicing with this guy every day. A whole lot more than I do. You watch all the film. Pull him in week 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying? Pull him when we start looking this bad, and like to me, you could have tried the Jameis experiment out in week 3 or 4, and we still would have somewhat of a season. But we're still at this point 2-6. People around here are talking about the wild card. I'm like, dude, we got a long, long way to go before we can even
got
have
some
that
hope, though. At least there's a slight slimmer glimmer bit of hope.
Sure.
The LA Rams were 2 and whatever at this point last year, and they went on a string. So they ended up making the playoffs. Indeed. But great win. Good thing they're my second favorite team because my team, Jayden Daniels with the Hail Mary, it was awesome. So I got to say, I was playing golf yesterday afternoon, so I recorded the entire second half. I got home and I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait till I put the girls to bed. So I turned off all my notifications for like 2 hours, not even kidding you, and didn't watch it until like 9 o'clock last night. And thank God, because when I turned everything back on, I had a whole bunch of people that would have spoiled it for me. None of you guys, which I appreciate that. You guys know me pretty well. But yeah, that was amazing. I'll say that the defense obviously looked unbelievable. I mean, really and truly the defense. And that was, we've proven we can throw and run up the score and all that. Defense looked great. Daniels is a tough SOB, which is just an awesome thing to have. He just exudes confidence, comfortable in the moment. The red zone efficiency yesterday was concerning. However, at this moment in time, it's a one-off because we've been very good in red zone efficiency and scoring in the red zone all season. So I'm not super worried about it, but that was, thank God we have a good kicker. But yeah, what a game, dude. 6-2. Love it. Feeling good about them. They just got a whole different vibe, whole different energy. So
they're going to be a freaking problem.
I'm
worried about it.
Right on the sideline. Like, that was just cool. He's down there on the field. Like, different culture, man. Definitely different. Dan Schneider wouldn't have been down there. So very cool. Major League
Baseball. I mean, and also too, with all that, like, it was a good defensive matchup, but I mean, let's not.
They did look Chicago
the Bears,
looked bad. Yes,
the Bears
I agree.
threw that game away with
Yeah.
homeboy out there.
That was tough. Tough scene, dude, with the offensive lineman too.
Showboating
Yeah.
and then costing him the game is just that's so ridiculous.
I don't hate that play though, because homeboy's not getting stopped. Like he's going through some people to get into that goal line. But
yeah,
dude, that was just
no.
like
I'm not saying
hit
I'm not taking anything. Like
hit his
it
belly and
was a
popped out.
great play, and a great Hail Mary. And those get practiced a lot more than most people think. You know that's a normal drill in practice. You know, so
well, they were saying it was the previous play that Chicago shouldn't have let them get. Like,
oh
up,
yeah,
you know what I mean? That
where
was
they
a
got
big
him.
deal too.
What was that, like a 17-yard completion in McLaurin or something like that?
Which is funny because literally right before the second to last play, Chris Collinsworth is like, "Oh, all you got to do right here is throw the little out route and get out of bounds, 2-3 seconds max, and they're not even going to defend it. It's all good." And he was saying it like, "Oh, everybody knows that's coming. It's okay. Allow them to have that." And then like everything today was like, he's kind of a buffoon. But,
allow them to have it. Yeah, Chris Collins.
I mean, that's if you go back. That's well, he's slurping them. That's fine. Whatever.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know what that means, Corey.
I'd never thought I'd hear
I lost my train of thought. Anyways, let's switch gears real quick. Major League Baseball. I don't really know who I'm even going for. The Dodgers are up 3-0 right now. I don't like either team. I feel like
they both lose.
I think I'm going for the Yankees, which is it baffles me that I'm even saying that because I've been a long time Yankee hater. Shout out to Danny P. I know it's tough for him right now.
Actually, double shout out to Danny P because he is at the game with
tonight
his son and taking his son to his first Yankees game. So
I hope they
win.
A
very cool thing.
I hope they win. But I mean, listen, the Freddie Freeman home run in Game 1 was electric. I'm still bitter because he was an Atlanta Brave 2 years ago, but that ball got out of the ballpark so fast. Like it was ridiculous, and that's kind of all you really want is good games. Even Game 2 was a good game. The Yankees had the bases loaded in the top of the 9th and were threatening, had gotten one run in. So maybe if they can just at least be competitive and interesting, that'll be good. But quick shout out to that. What else you guys got? Do you guys want to hear a joke?
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
You want to hear a joke? All right. So I'm no free ads, right? But there's this magazine that comes out to all the random stores and restaurants in our area. It's like an ad magazine. You pay for it, get your business in there, advertise. But they have all kinds of jokes and one-liners and interesting facts and true or false questions and historical events and top movies and top music and all that. And I don't know. In light of spooky season, this one just made me laugh. I don't know. It was one of those. It was really stupid, but it made me laugh, and I got to find it now, of course. Okay. It's called Haunted House. After buying my first house, I found out it was haunted. Sounds like Greg. I hired the best. My mom loved your little take on that with your haunted house, by the way, Greg. After buying my first house, I found out it was haunted. I hired the best exorcist in town, but he was so expensive I had to pay him in monthly installments. I ended up missing a couple of payments, and one night there was a knock on the door. It was the ghost. "I'm very sorry, sir," he said. "Your home has been repossessed." Oh, dude, it just made me laugh. I didn't say it was a good joke by any means. It was just like, because it's kind of a long joke, and I was like reading it today at lunch. I was like, and I thought after the first monthly installments, I was like, wait a second, that doesn't make any sense. And then I realized I had to keep reading. It just made me laugh. It just gave me a really good chuckle, one of those feel-good moments. You guys thought I was coming with a dirty joke, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we're
go ahead.
Are you got something else?
I have a Halloween tidbit of information, a historical fact, but go ahead. I got to find it.
As we're slowly transitioning into our spooky segment, dude, have you guys ever seen The Watcher on Netflix? You guys watch The Watcher?
Yeah,
I haven't seen
it. Weird show, man.
Yeah, that was good. But I highly recommend it, Shawn. If you haven't seen it,
The Watcher. Okay, all right.
It's creepy, and it leaves you like. I mean, I don't know. I can't even say anymore, or else I'd spoil it. I think.
Yeah, don't spoil it, dude.
The way it leaves you, I'll say that. The way it leaves you is
You guys probably know this,
Yeah.
Corey. I feel like both of you probably know this, but for our listeners, Halloween comes from an ancient Celtic tradition. They believe that ghosts roamed on Halloween and people would wear disguises in order to hide from spirits. That's where the costumes come from. I guess I never really knew that. I think I might have learned that at some point or knew that, but
I thought it was like scare them away or something, but
yeah, like they're best for hiding from them. So,
which I'm not very scary right now. I don't feel like
all right,
Greg is.
I got one more thing. Or Greg, are you supposed to do you have a question for us?
No, we'll wait until Corey's done.
Okay. I have one more thing before we get into Corey's thing. I don't know why I was thinking of this, but which household appliance do you think you could actually live without? Think about that for a second. Think about it.
That I could live without?
Yeah, like that you don't normally use, that like, or I guess you could rephrase it, that just you wouldn't really miss, maybe, and that can be anything. I mean, I think I don't know if like central AC is considered an appliance, but I would consider it one. I can't live without. I don't want to live without AC, or that you don't want to live without, I guess. I was thinking, and if you guys want a moment, I can go, or I can wait.
No, go ahead.
Dishwasher. I could live without the dishwasher. I never really use my dishwasher that often, except for like as extra drain board space. I'm a wash as I go kind of guy. And really the way this brought up, I know it's like stupid, but I don't know why I thought it would be a good quick topic for conversation. I was thinking about this because I just got a new washer and dryer delivered on Saturday. Shout out to Patrick and the boys at Home Depot. They did a fantastic job. But I was like, man, what? Like, because we've got a new refrigerator since we bought the house, washer and dryer, a couple other little things. And I was like thinking, I need to get I've got a new well pump. I need to get my water heater serviced. I'm sure there's a certain amount of years you should get that serviced. And I was like, what appliance could I like totally, if it went today, would I just be okay with not spending the money on replacing? And as much as I don't love microwaves because of what it does to your food, like it's kind of, it's essential for a lot of things. Obviously, refrigerator you need, AC you need, like washer and dryer, water, all that stuff.
So appliance
Yeah,
would
get
not
rid of it.
the appliance would not include things like air fryers and KitchenAids.
Yeah, I guess
That-
if
those
you
are
want to
appliances.
if you want to take the lame way out, Corey, yeah, you could say
Well, I was
something
just gonna
stupid
say
like that. But
because I
I mean,
did
like the
live
stuff that
without those
that
things.
you actually use. Like I could probably live without a toaster. You could just use the oven, I guess, if you really needed to.
I have a
I could-
toaster oven.
I do too. I couldn't live without a
So-
coffee maker.
No, yeah, I can't.
But you have an actual oven, though, is my point. So, like, if you
Yes.
needed to toast something, you could just use that, even though that's a little
Correct.
more time consuming.
I mean, I could live without a coffee maker. You just get a French press. And you just,
Well, that you can't
rock
substitute,
that.
Greg.
oh, you're not, no Subsies?
No substitute.
Well, I mean, I guess you could, but like, let's be honest. There's going to be a day where you're like, shit, I don't have enough time, and you're just going to want to make a quick pot or something, or whatever it is, right?
I guess of like the
Yes.
common household appliances, yes, dishwasher would be the one
Mm.
that could go because whatever. I'll wash
I'm
my
going to
Yes.
tell you right now. A bathtub. And I don't mean
That's-
that like in the
Ooh, okay.
disgusting ass way. I mean that I legitimately have not
Yeah,
used
you could just use a
my
stand-up shower.
bathtub. Yeah, I shower.
a good
I'm
one.
a man. I'm a dude.
It's a good one.
Oh, I got a question for you guys.
Corey,
yeah,
you
who
take
needs a
baths, don't
bathtub?
you?
Who takes baths? Who
Corey
wants to
does, dude. I
wallow-
know.
You want to like wallow
I've
in
seen
your
all
own
those bath
filth
salts
for
at your
12
house,
minutes,
Corey.
and then it gets
there are bath
lukewarm,
salts.
and then it's just weird.
smoke
and
'em.
it's-
You're not smoke. Okay, that's
Yes, I do.
Damn.
No, I'm not against the good bath though. I'm not. I don't do that
Oh,
routinely, but
That's kind
alone,
of suspect.
alone, or like, do you have a
There's-
companion?
there's been times.
I mean, that's different. That's like a yeah.
You got a
I
small
have
ass
a couple.
bathtub though for the two of you to be getting
Yeah,
into
that's-
that
that's
thing.
It doesn't.
That's the other thing. I don't want to do that there because I'm just gonna
Hey.
it's gonna slosh water everywhere.
Shout
Well,
out to
it's-
our suite in Costa Rica for our honeymoon. They had a jacuzzi tub like right in the room. Like honestly, it was probably a little too close to the bed.
Yeah,
Things got rowdy, but it was like right there, dude. Like
Yeah, you
you
do a
know,
little
that's cool.
cannonball off the bed.
Yeah, dude, it was sick, bro. It
Yeah,
had the
boy.
jets.
You
I
got to
had
do
the
it
jet.
Austin Powers style.
They also had
Yes.
vodka and rum on a keg spout in our
Oh, that was
honeymoon
perfect.
Are you
suite, yeah.
serious? On
Yeah,
a spout?
I swear to God, they had it was a keg. It was like just to pull it down. And it was just a bottle, but it was like a little, it was made to look like whatever. But yeah,
Do you guys? I have a question, and this question comes from the New Heights podcast. They asked this question.
no, I will not make out with you.
Do you guys physically wash your feet?
Yes,
I
Yeah,
saw
right?
this
That's-
was
I do.
trending or whatever.
I do.
It depends, dude. Like, do I
Yeah.
always like bend over in the shower, or wash my or like lift each knee up to
Right.
Yeah,
not
day?
every time.
every
dude.
shower.
No,
Yes.
not
See,
every
there's-
time. I mean, I
It
get
takes
down
2
there.
seconds.
I get down there, but like, yeah, dude. When I shower after work and I'm like funky, absolutely, I wash my feet.
I get in between my toes. Yeah, absolutely, dude.
See, sometimes you just let the residual soap just do the work for you.
I don't, but
No.
that doesn't do really anything.
No.
It just over.
Llisten, I didn't know that this was a
no,
problem
no.
until it got
You
brought up
guys
on
are
the podcast.
disgusting. Do you wash your feet, Corey? You haven't answered the question.
It's
He
occasional.
does not.
Oh my goodness.
He
To
answered
actually
it without
scrub.
answering.
To actually scrub.
Oh, I make sure.
I mean,
oh,
I'm
no.
not saying it's not often, but I'm saying it's not every time. No.
Every day, every
No.
day, every shower. Not a shower goes by, nor a bath. I'm just kidding. Shower goes by. So
Well, whatever. We can't be friends now, I guess. I'm
quick,
fine.
quick. Favorite potato chip. No crazy
Doritos.
flavors. No crazy.
but
No.
Wait.
Flavor.
Potato chip.
No
don't-
crazy flavor.
I don't like
No,
potato
none of
chips.
this new stuff. Crazy salt and vinegar all the way.
They are good. Potato
the way.
chips.
Yeah, I'm not a potato chip guy.
Do Pringles count?
Yeah. What flavor?
Original.
Give me just a straight raw out of the earth potato. I'll just take a bite out of that.
I'll sprinkle some,
slice them down.
some salt
Stone
and
Cold
vinegar on
Steve
that
Austin.
bad boy right here.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Corey. Spooky topic.
Whew. You guys didn't even know it was me.
You're
I
not
didn't-
Mr.
I
Incredible.
didn't- Oh my God, that's Corey Mitchner. Well,
It's Robert Parr.
it's Robert Parr.
All right. So this week we're going to dive into the Salem Witch Trials a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit, because when I suggested that I do this, I did not realize what I was biting off. There is like, I guess, a main course of events that happen, which is what we're going to go over. But to really dig down into it and figure out all the relationships between people and why certain people were accused and all this stuff, you're going to have to do your own research. I've listened to plenty of podcasts in the past month on it, read a bunch of things. I can honestly not say sitting here right now, say that I have it clear as day, because it gets confusing. But
That's what they want to happen, Corey.
could be.
They do. Probably the government.
So, first off, let's start by saying that the paranoia of witchcraft was a thing from around the 1300s to the 1600s, late 1600s. Salem witch trials were actually at the tail end of like that mass hysteria of witchcraft. But this mainly happened all through Europe. It happened in the rest of the American colonies as well, but in Europe from 1300s, 1600s, tens of thousands of people were executed as a result of this. So when you kind of sit here in 2024 and look and think about that, like we know sitting here today that witchcraft as they knew it back then isn't really a thing. And how many people were murdered because of it? I mean, that's the overall like moral of the story here, right? That we're gonna revisit. So 1692, this pops off in Salem, Massachusetts. Again, it happened in other American colonies. This is I guess considered probably the worst. It occurred from early 1692 to, which was when the first were accused, to mid 1693, which is when the trials officially ended. More than 200 people in that time were accused and 20 were executed. This is how it started. During what was known as King William's War, which was between the English and France, but fought in the American colonies. Refugees, of the colonies migrated to Salem Village, which is now Danvers, Massachusetts. So there was Salem Village and there was Salem Town. Salem Village is now Danvers. Salem Town is now the city of Salem. Refugees placed strain on Salem's resources, which aggravated existing rivalries between the wealth of the port of Salem and those who still relied on agriculture. So just like, honestly, the same quarrels today, there was a divide between the rich and the poor, and they didn't think too highly of each other. The refugees, obviously using all the resources of Salem, pissed a bunch of people off. Controversy also arose with the ordainment of Salem's first minister, Samuel Parris, due to his rigid ways and greedy nature. And the Puritans believed that the quarreling was the work of the devil. So all the infighting and stuff, they believed Satan was the problem, which, in a way, they're kind of right. So now, talking about Samuel Parris and his family, January 1692, Parris's daughters, aged 9 and 11, began to have quote-unquote fits, okay? Fits. Observers claiming that they would scream, throw objects, utter peculiar sounds, and contort themselves into strange positions. So back then, that apparently was a problem. We see this in the freezer section at Walmart every day, and nobody bats an eye. But then they call in a doctor. This doctor deemed those two girls essentially to be possessed. The exact words, I believe, were under an evil hand. That was the good doctor's diagnosis. So there's that. The girls accused 3 women for afflicting them. So now these two girls, aged 9 and 11, are accusing these presumably innocent people. One was named Sarah Good. She was a homeless beggar. Another was also a Sarah Osborne. She was an elderly, impoverished woman. The third, however, her name was, I always mess this up, Tituba. 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 Greg likes that one. Yeah.
Tituba.
She was
Tittyba.
I keep screwing this up. She was a Caribbean woman enslaved by the Parris family. Okay. So they were all interrogated. Good and Osborne claimed innocence, obviously, but Tituba confessed to practicing witchcraft. Claimed that she signed the devil's book and that there were also others in Salem who had also signed the book and they were looking to destroy the Puritans. So I don't know about you guys, but that's when it got like odd for me because I'm thinking like so and then I didn't write this down, but little backstory here. What ended up being a thing in the witch trials was that those who confessed would be let off. If you said like, yeah, I'm a witch, I'm sorry, like you had to like swear to never practice again, whatever, you probably face some sort of consequences like socially. But they didn't kill you. But if you maintained your innocence, then you were just, your fate was up to the court, right? And we'll talk a little bit about it, but they find you guilty and you're dead. So your fate was definitely in their hands. So this kind of spawned the paranoia and basically spawned all those accusations in the coming months. In May 1692, Governor William Phipps, Phips, ordered the establishment of a special court to hear the cases. The first accused, which brought to the court, was Bridget Bishop, an older woman known for her gossipy habits and promiscuity. So all of her friends would be fucked, basically.
I was just gonna say, sounds like some people we know.
Yeah. So they're all done. Sorry to our listeners. She claimed innocence but was found guilty, and she was the first to be hanged in Salem at Gallows Hill. A few days after the court was established, respected minister Cotton Mather wrote a letter asking that spectral evidence not be allowed. So this was a big thing. Spectral evidence was the testimony in which witnesses claimed that the accused appeared to them in a vision or dream, which was thought to be the ability of the witches spiritually projecting themselves in order to harm their victims. So that literally amounts to, like, Shawn, you came to me in a dream, possibly tried to hurt me, maybe not.
So you must be a murderer.
So you're practicing the devil's magic, and so now I accuse you, and like we're saying here, like, that was evidence.
That's like if your girlfriend has a dream you're cheating on them, and then is like pissed off,
and then wake up and you wake up and they're going through your phone.
Yeah.
So that was wild. So anyway, like I said, that was Cotton Mather. He was a respected minister that wrote that. They ignored his plea for that. And basically that, like, spectral evidence, as they called it, was used at least in 18 of the of the people who got hanged in their cases. On October 3rd, 1692, Cotton's father, then president of Harvard, which that kind of, how long has Harvard been around? Like billions of years? Yeah. Jesus.
A long time.
Yes, billions, Corey, exactly. But no, it's been around pretty much since, I think, probably, what did you just reference? Some date in the 1600s?
1692.
I want to say 15 or even 14.
That's wild. I wrote it down earlier, and I thought, I got to look up when Harvard became a thing.
1636.
Wow.
Well, pretty sure Stanford was even earlier than that.
Really?
I don't know why I was just looking that stuff up the other day. You guys ever heard of the interweb? You get down some rabbit holes on that thing.
I try to stay off it. So this is Cotton's father. I guess his name was Increase Mather. Increase, like literally, like increase.
That's legit.
What's wrong with these people?
They had some kooky names back then,
dude. Anyway, he denounced the use of spectral evidence, stating it would be better that 10 suspected witches should escape than one innocent person be condemned. Governor Phipps, in responses to these pleas and his own wife's questioning as a suspected witch, so mind you, the public opinion of the trial start to turn in late 1692. Once they start killing people, I guess, is when people started thinking, like, what if we get this wrong? And then the governor, and then the governor's wife actually being questioned, and it says questioned, but accused essentially as a witch. He started prohibiting further arrests. So, make sure you're in power. And he released many accused. On October 29th, that's tomorrow, 1692, the special court was dissolved and replaced with a new court that disallowed the use of spectral evidence. As a result, just 3 of the 56 accused under this court were condemned, which is still 3 too many, but at least they were trying by this point, right?
I wish we could still use spectral evidence in today's day and age. That'd be sick.
I mean, we can try.
There is they've got it kind of down to a science now. If you watch any of those spooky shows and whatnot.
Yo.
We could try. I mean, I'm down for just accusing people of random things anyway. By May 1693, the governor had pardoned those imprisoned that were left. However, by this time, 19 people had been hanged, and 1 man was pressed to death. His name was Giles Corey, spelled like me. He was pressed to death because he would not enter a plea to the court.
Wait. He was what? Pressed. He was what to death?
Pressed to death, meaning
like Greg sat on him.
Essentially, but replaced
probably like in between 2.
Well, no,
that's terrible.
It was as if Greg sat on him, but replaced Greg with large stones.
Dude,
stones.
That's
insane.
Brutal. So the thing was too, it wasn't supposed to kill him. It was just a torture method
no?
to get him to enter a plea,
Oh, okay.
and they killed him. It was like a couple
Oh,
days. It was a couple days long.
imagine that guy like, oh damn, we killed him.
Yeah, I mean,
Captain, we got a problem over here.
so
I can get
why?
down with a good beheading or good hanging, but getting pressed to death.
Well, you're a sick fuck, Shawn. That's why.
You guys,
All
you
right,
guys remember? Sorry to interrupt. But you guys
you're
remember
good.
the
You're good.
show? I promise it's appropriate or it's relevant. Oh God, it was on Showtime.
Yeah.
Homeland. Remember Homeland?
Nope.
Yes.
Corey, you got to watch it. Unbelievable
Nope.
show. Remember, the guy he's in the Middle East, and they stretch him to death. They
Yes.
literally
Yeah,
just
yeah.
they stretch him to where his I don't know if it's to death, but his I'm sure he bled out to death, but his arms and legs, they just pull him off. Like, oh, crazy.
Mhm.
Well,
Anyways.
now you ruined the whole thing for me. So
Oh, is that what they did?
no,
Oh.
I meant the show. I was gonna. Go
Oh no,
watch it.
that's not even, dude. That's like the second season. That's just a one-off in the second season. That did not
Okay,
ruin it.
good.
Trust me.
I was just kidding. I
Great
wasn't gonna
show.
watch it.
Great show.
So anyway, little aftermath as we're winding down here. Some involved in the accusations and convictions did express remorse after all was said and done some years later. Judge Samuel, it's pronounced, well, it might be Sewell. It might be Seawall. I don't know. If you're in Stuart, Florida, it's pronounced Sewell. So whatever. And but the one I wanted to mention too was Ann Putnam Jr. The Putnams were a family in Salem that between the dad, who was Thomas Putnam, and the daughter and the wife, they accused like half of those accused. It was like over 100 people that they accused that they were part of the accusations, along with others, because everybody joined in on the hysteria of it. But they were responsible for a lot of the accusations, which is kind of wild. Ann Putnam Jr. herself, which is a 12-year-old, by the way, accused 62 people. Which the 20 deaths in Salem were of the 62. Like she was in on all of them.
Wow.
Kind of wild. There's also,
That's crazy.
I don't have the information on it, but I do want to mention in case anybody wants to go down that rabbit hole. The Putnams had a rivalry with the Porter family, I believe, and I think they accused a lot of them.
You see how this quickly gets out of hand.
It got out of hand, right?
Right, because people were being accused. Like at that point, it's just like, oh, if you don't like the way your neighbor cuts his lawn or doesn't cut his lawn, yeah, you're a witch.
Your coconuts are falling on my yard.
Can you imagine what an HOA would be like during 1692?
Oh, God,
yeah, that'd be sick,
oh my
dude.
God,
that'd be sick. Instead of fines, you lose a finger.
Yeah. So it was 10 years after the accusation started in 1702 that the courts declared the trials unlawful. 1711, the colony passed a bill restoring the rights and good names of the accused, as well as granting restitution. Because again, even those that were like let out in May of 1693, like I said, a lot of times, well, one, their name was smeared anyway, but some of them lost property over the stuff. A felon couldn't own property, and they considered them felons still. So you lost a lot as a result of being wrongly accused back then. And then 1957, Massachusetts formally apologizes for the trials, which you got me on why anybody wasted a piece of paper on that one. I mean,
1957.
Sure, nice gesture, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine like being like a family member in 1957? Like who?
Yeah, like I don't care.
Yeah,
like I think it's cool, right? Like, oh, it's cool.
Did those apologies come with any financial compensation?
Not by that point, but back in 1700s, it did a little bit, I guess. They probably gave some of their land back.
Yeah, like a horse. I'm
horse.
sorry, we killed your entire family. Here's like two mules and a half an acre.
And a half an acre of corn.
Here's the stones.
That's genetically modified.
We pressed your uncle with these stones. Use them to build a hut for yourself.
Crazy. But so anyway, that's about it. But you know, the whole moral of the Salem Witch Trials is much like anything else that happened in history. I don't really actually want to go on record on putting it up against some of like the mass genocides of history, but it was of the same variety of ridiculousness, right?
Yeah.
And knowing this stuff, and why do we learn history? So one, it doesn't get repeated, not that we go around,
which it kind of always does.
kind of always does. So honestly, yeah, there's a lot of similarities into the paranoia of the witch trials and the paranoia of modern day society, to be honest, but we just don't go around killing people as much, maybe. At least in this country today, I don't think.
Well,
we just assassinate their character.
yeah,
yeah, 100%. So I don't know. I was excited to learn a lot about this,
good.
and fun fact, our Airbnb is like a half block away from where the hangings happened. So that'll be on the stop list.
Get a couple pictures.
Gonna get some. I mean, they're not still there, Shawn.
No, like get yourself a picture, like,
Yeah.
So okay. Last thing I want to mention now.
So they don't have. All right. So you're telling me around Halloween in Salem, Massachusetts, they don't have like the gallows set up or anything?
I bet they do. I bet they got some.
No, I'm gonna tell you why right now.
Tell me why. Fill me in.
So they do have plenty of Halloween festivities, and it's crazy. Like from what I've been seeing on social media and stuff, because I liked a few pages to learn about it. The festivities and the events and the tours and the this and the that are crazy and amazing. However, I learned, or at least I read once or twice, so take it for what you will. I guess the locals do apparently feel some depth and weight when it comes to this topic. And so much so that I definitely read somebody, it may have been a little bit of a Karen issue, but you know, somebody had posted something about like, make sure you're using some class and some tact when you're visiting our town, because it wasn't like a joyous occasion that happened. People died, and we do take it seriously, and there is a memorial that's very somber. And so I know I don't think they have the gallows up. I think they take it a little bit more heavier than that, from the gist I'm getting.
Right. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I thought that was nice though too.
Lame, but fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, and they also take a whole bunch of other stuff not so seriously, because it's like it's the destination spot for Halloween goers, is it not?
Yeah,
like the number one destination spot for
I think they
Halloween
do appreciate. I think they do appreciate that, because I honestly think it's a vital part of their
money, dude.
Economy.
Yeah, absolutely.
They say 100,000 people visit Salem in the month of October alone.
Right, and it's not that big of a place.
No, there's only 4,000 parking spaces public.
Yeah.
So wild.
I love how you know that. Like,
I've been mapping it out. We only have like 24 hours in Salem, so I'm trying to figure it all out. But we're going the day after Halloween, though, so we'll see.
Yeah, so hopefully some of it clears out a little bit for you. Is it just you and Gabby, or is it the kids too?
Just me and Gabby.
Nice.
So honestly, if we couldn't do a single thing there and we just hung out in an Airbnb, we'd probably still have fun. So just to ourselves.
I can think of a few things to keep you guys occupied. Yeah.
Yeah, we were bringing the chessboard.
Very good.
As long as it's not a Ouija board, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Very good.
So I'm gonna project myself into your dreams tonight, just so you know.
I will slay you.
I will smite thee with that axe hanging there, sir.
What are you guys getting into for Halloween?
I'll be with the kids and the fam. We're going to our friend's house that we go to every year over not too far. Their neighborhood does a whole big thing, all kinds of haunted house. They do it up. It's legit. So we'll go over there. We'll trick or treat. They always have food. It's a good little hang.
That's good.
It's on a Thursday, so there'll be football on, which is nice.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
True.
Yeah. Yep. I will be trick or treating as well, and doing my best to scare some children.
Nice.
So yeah,
I really
Very
still want to
good.
get a ghost face mask just in case I ever have to kill anybody.
there you go.
All right, guys. Well, let's transition into our spiritual reading topic. And Mr. Greg, go right ahead, Mr. Ragnar.
Yes, yeah. So this was supposed to be Bill's week for it, but we didn't want to read what he had picked. So this is kind of on the fly. None of us have really rehearsed this.
Because we wanted that to
Whatever.
be his reading on another occasion.
Exactly. So yeah, so this is from a book called Touchstones, and it is not today's reading, but it is the reading from Halloween, October 31st, coming up.
Is it touch tones or touch stones?
Touchstones.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah, like foundational rocks.
Got it.
Not
Sweet.
pressing rocks. Those are two different
Can
things.
you use them to press if need be?
Stop touching my rocks.
We're starting with a quote by Richard J. Foster. I'm sorry, not Forster. Superficiality is the curse of our age. The doctrine of instant satisfaction is a primary spiritual problem. As we have reached for instant cures, 1-minute answers, and quick highs, we have developed lifestyles that foreclose deeper possibilities. For instance, when we fail to stay and resolve conflicts in a relationship, we miss the joys of a renewed understanding. Our spiritual development comes in steps, small but meaningful increments that build over a period of time. Many of us have not been patient men, and our newfound spiritual life is teaching us that the quickest, most efficient answer isn't always the best. Today, our greatest temptation may be to grab for the fast solutions rather than allowing time for small but important steps to occur. When we are frustrated, it will help to remember that difficulty may lie in our insistence on a quick answer. Sometimes, simply being true to ourselves and standing as a witness while the answer develops are all that is asked of us. I will have faith that time is on my side and it will teach me valuable things.
It's a good reading.
Yeah, we pulled out of the book, kind of on the fly. I mean, I guess let me back up for a second before getting into all that. Is certainly what it talks about there with like the need for instant gratification, for instant fulfillment, for all that kind of stuff. Especially for those people that are new to recovery, that are new to living a spiritual way of life and stuff like that. You got to remember that there is no limit on a higher power. There is no limit on God and anything like that. It comes to some of us very quickly in a rapid kind of insane experience, for lack of a better term, and some of us it comes slowly over time. I had to learn early on from the help of a good mentor and from the help of a lot of good guys around me that like, just take your time, dude. Take your time and do this work, do this work the way it's laid out, which is in rapid succession. But as far as some of the other stuff, as far as, getting your life back on track, getting these principles, like we have these steps that we've already talked about that are daily things that we can do. We can pray in the morning. We can meditate. We can pray at night and meditate. We can do things to get outside of ourselves. But a lot of that other, spiritual way of living and the all the benefits that come along with it take time. For a guy like me that was certainly all about instant gratification for many, many, many years, I had to learn to just sit back and have faith for the first time in my life that I was exactly where I was supposed to be, that if I kept doing the right things and being on the right track, that the right things would happen and that I would be able to face adversity, right? But yeah, fast forward that to now, we've talked many times about how the fact that like the drinking and the drug is not something that, that like that problem has been removed from me. I'm still left with myself. I'm still, when I cut spirituality out of my life or kind of push it away or whatever, I'm still left with all the problems that plague myself. But, when I keep that kind of stuff in the center of my life, in the center of my day, the drugs and the alcohol aren't a problem. But other things do crop up. And I was just having this conversation with somebody who's very near and dear to me, just yesterday, as a matter of fact, that comparison is the thief of joy, right? That old quote certainly rings true, and is one of those things that a lot of freedom for me came when I stopped comparing myself to other people, when I stopped, in my head, this person's got it all together. This person has a wonderful family. This person just, bought an amazing home. This person just got promoted, to a great career. This guy owns his own business, and what am I doing with my life and all that kind of stuff? And when is it going to be my time to, and instead, and you get stuck in that pity pot victim kind of way of thinking, if we stop comparing ourselves to other people and focus on the journey we're on, what are the things that I'm trying to do to better myself, to better my life, to better the lives of those people around me, and help just really enrich the human race, if I can, but certainly like those people that are close to me, that I'm in contact with all the time. And I'm reminded of, and I'll probably like botch it horribly, but I'm reminded of a quote from a guy that I won't be able to name his name, but he's like he's one of those guys, like a Jordan Peterson type guy, right? Motivational speaker, I guess, if you will. But that steel has to get tempered and hardened thousands of times over before it can become sharp, and before like a blade can become strong, right? And a lot of times we've been thrown into the fire so many times that we come out the other side like, am I sharp yet? Am I indestructible yet? Am I all these things yet? Instead of really just, knowing now, what I know is that every time I've gone through the fire, whether it be in sobriety or not, I've come out the other side stronger and sharper, and better for it. And more importantly, I've learned the lessons from it, right? And I've been able to carry those forward so that I don't keep making the same mistakes, but that, I can hopefully try and impart some of that stuff onto other people, So again, it kind of goes along with that, comparing where I'm at, because we're going to go into the fire, we're going to go into the fire at 26 and 36 and again at 46, before we're truly hardened and sharpened, to the world and the things in it. So it's more important, I think, to just enjoy that experience and be okay in the fire, and certainly coming out the other side. So that's what I got from it. Thanks.
Very good. Great reading. Great discussion. Corey, you want to go?
Yeah. I don't know, Greg, you said it all, first off. And I completely agree with everything you said, and it is a good reading. Someone, when I was like, I don't know, a year sober, maybe a little less, a good friend back then, we were outside the bowling alley and we were talking, and for whatever reason, she goes, I wish you a slow recovery. And I thought, well, that's stupid. They said I could, be recovered quickly, and which I already was at that point. I know that much, that I was already on the journey of helping others. But she goes, I just mean, like, I hope you get the things back slowly. I hope you earn them back. I hope you earn new things, and I hope that it all comes in time. And after she kind of explained herself, I thought, well, that's a nice thing to say, because you're right. Anytime anybody ever handed me anything back immediately after I took it for granted, burnt my life down, etc., I didn't treat it with any more gratitude than before, or anything, and I took advantage of it again, and I usually ended up losing it again. So I 100% agree with time providing, um, you know, for the most part, everything I have, um, well, well, two things. Number one, it's a gift from God, and number two, um, I did work to have it, um, l- little things in my life today that that were just dropped in my lap, and if they were, that's great too, I guess. But for the most part, we're putting in work these days to have things material, not material, trust, love, all that stuff. Um, love is conditional.
Mhm.
We talk about unconditional love, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist. And if it does, I believe it to be with like my kids. I don't know.
I would say
I
a
mean,
dog.
dogs, yeah, yeah, true.
Dog.
But largely, love is conditional, and we're doing certain things to obtain it and give it, you know, um, whatever. Um, I think there was other stuff, but I forget. Something else you said, Greg, and I can't remember. But yeah, man, for the most part, I really like that one, Greg. That was good. I think you hit the nail on the head.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Corey. Yeah, it was really good. Instant gratification is definitely not so sure it was any different way back when, but it's definitely prevalent today. We see it. I see it with my kids all the time. I see it with myself too, and people in recovery. But definitely kids, right? It's a. I think kids. It's just a natural thing for them to want instant gratification, and something that they learn as they go along. And I know I have. And Corey, the slow recovery thing. I get it. I think I look back on my journey in recovery, and everything came back. It's going to sound stupid, but like in its own time, in God's time, which
Mm-hmm.
we sit here and say obviously, but like really and truly, I look back and I just think of my license, right? I had all this money I had to pay off, and it I chipped away at it every paycheck, every couple weeks, and it took me, well over a year, almost a year and a half to pay all of it back. And then paid it back, and I still didn't have a car yet or a license. I had to go through the hoops of getting the different document, just all that stuff, from moving out of the halfway house to into Papa Ron's house, and then eventually my own. By the time I got my own apartment, I was like 3 years sober, whatever it was, more than 3 years sober, almost, or 2.5, whatever, almost 3 years sober. It was like I look back, and it was obviously my journey, so it worked out, and I'm still sober continuously for over 13 years. So obviously it worked out in that regard. But like I look back, and it couldn't have worked out any other way. And everything I was in certain, you know, just the timeline of events is truly magnificent the way it all happened. And to your point, like we see it all the time. People get stuff back, or power and prestige, or the high paying job, or the girl or the guy, or whatever it is. Sometimes the kids, honestly, like, let's be real, guys. Some of us that don't have our kids when we get sober, like, we're not ready for it. As much as we want them right away, and think we can handle them, like, maybe it's okay for them to stay with grandma and grandpa a few more months while I get my
Mm-hmm.
spiritual foundation under me, or whatever the case may be. And I'm not saying that's everybody or every case. I'm just saying, you know, um, it's just the way it is. Like, nothing will nothing will so much wreck my sobriety as getting too much stuff back too quickly, and then therefore taking the importance away from the recovery that I've been doing, and distracting me. Because let's be honest, it is, as much as we don't want to say it is, and like it's a distraction. So um instant gratification in my own life is something that I try for, and there's certain little things that I do. It's actually something that I'm pretty conscious of, and I'm definitely not like perfect at it by any stretch, but there are I am pretty conscious of it, and there are little tips and tricks I use, or just I kind of force myself almost to have some delayed gratification, and it always feels better. That's the crazy part. Like, delaying that gratification, even for like material things, or secular things or physical things, even little things day to day. It feels so much better when you actually get to, enjoy it and you've waited a little while. But what I really liked, Greg, from that reading was, um, when we fail to stay and resolve conflicts in a relationship, we miss the joys of a renewed understanding, aka amends. I think, kind of like, in a nutshell, I guess. But I was drawn right away to making amends and restitution to people that I had harmed, and what a powerful exercise and practice that is in our recovery programs. From the amends that the people I've harmed prior to getting sober, and that I had to do this work to lead up to those, and then also just like the day to day amends that I have to make, or the restitution, or the solving of those conflicts by communication with, whether it's my wife or a coworker or even my kids. Man, my wife and I we had to do some disciplining the other day, to one of our children that was very uncomfortable at first, and it was something that we kind of our kids are getting older. There was a new area that we hadn't really experienced before, a new situation, and a new conflict and stuff, and it was like we fortunately we have a foundation, and the two of us prayed on it before we had the conversation with her, and like we walked away feeling really good about how we handled it. So I think that's a huge thing. Like, I don't think there's enough interpersonal communication nowadays in our society, right? There's plenty of intrapersonal, but not enough one-on-one, face-to-face, man-to-man, woman-to-woman, person-to-person, um, conversation and communication, and so much, if not all, most of the time can be resolved by that like not waiting for the other person to admit they're wrong, but just approaching them and saying, "Hey, I was wrong. This is what I did. This, that's just like we're taught. This is what I'm going to do to make it up to you. Is there anything else I've done wrong? What can I do to make it up to you?" Kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm just drawn to that, but I do love it. I love that. Um, we got a lot of cheesy sayings in our sobriety and our recovery, but like, what is it? Pain is mandatory, but suffering is optional. I think that's
Mhm.
an appropriate one, right?
Yeah,
And I
it's
don't mean,
tattooed
I
on
think,
Gabby's shoulder.
but it's a good, but and
So
good for Gabby,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
a good one, right? It's a good one because I'm going to go through hardships. I'm gonna go through these tough learning experiences, but I don't have to suffer through them, and I don't have to like complain about them to every single person that'll listen, whether they want to hear it or not. And I think that, is, and I learn through that quote unquote pain that I can also learn from the good things, right? I don't just grow spiritually by pain. I can also grow spiritually by doing something right or experiencing something good, and realizing how good it feels, and realizing how close to God and other people it makes me feel, and wanting more of that in my life, right? There's no downfall in that size either. So great reading, man. Really, really a good one. Appropriate, applicable, all that stuff. And that's all I got, guys.
It's all
Anybody else?
about having a solid foundation of recovery before you get things, How
Sure.
many, I mean, you said it too, Sean, but how many people do we know just got into the halfway house, whatever? Their parents gift them a brand new frickin' car or whatever, and they end up living in it in a few
Yeah.
months,
Yep.
like
Or
it's
selling it
or selling it,
for drugs, or pawning it. Yeah, no, I agree.
do
Mhm.
spiritual first.
Yep.
Nobody
Well,
said you can't have nice things,
for sure. And
but
our recovery literature is littered with it, right?
yeah,
Spiritual progress always precedes financial, whatever it says, right?
yeah,
It
yeah.
never, never the other way around, right? And it's very true.
But I also liked how the reading said, I'm double dipping again. This is what I do now. I also liked how the reading talked about like progress over time as far as like whatever you said, Greg, like sharpening yourself type of deal. Like I found that the gym journey was like that. But all the other times I ever got into the gym, I got in for a couple of weeks and called it a day, whatever. Because there's no instant gratification,
Mhm.
right? And you got to keep going or whatever. But
Yeah. It's a
but
good example.
the one thing I noticed in this cycle I've been in. That's probably a bad term to use when talking about the gym, but um, regardless, I noticed that like I fine tune as I go, Greg. Like I don't know if you can relate. Like uh even the eating, for I guess is a stupid example, but even the eating, right? So at first I was like, fine, I'll eat eggs in the morning. I don't eat any breakfast right now. I never eat breakfast, but I'll start eating eggs. So now I'm eating 2 eggs, 2 whole eggs with cheese all over it, whatever. And then as I go along, I'm like, all right, well, I'm blowing my fat macro out of the water every day. I got to make changes. Let's look at the morning. So now I'm doing an egg and an egg white. And then I find out, all right, a couple weeks later, all right, that's not good enough. I got to go to egg whites. And I just slowly like fine tune, start to see what works. You suggested some things like hot sauce or whatever. You know, I find a balance between tolerable and what's good for me, you know? And it's just a process, dude. And the same thing is in the gym. Like it was a process figuring out what weight, how heavy to go, you know, form, this, that, what. It's just all been, you just keep building and building and building. And really consistency, specifically in the gym, but like in all areas of life, is what changes things, you know? Just consistency, just doing it over and over. So,
and like I said, like putting yourself in the fire, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Getting uncomfortable, putting yourself in the fire, and coming out the other side of it.
Yeah, man. Very good, guys. I think that's a podcast.
I shared twice, once for Bill. Yeah,
we'll collect a couple
we hope
extra
that
dollars from
Bill hasn't gone completely off on an Xfinity customer service representative at this point.
YouTube TV, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Shout out to the listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. You can always email us, trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. We should probably check that. Send mailbag requests for topics, questions, and comments to any of these handles. Remember, we are all here for anyone that wants to talk about recovery, our experience, or if you're struggling with some form of addiction. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management. Good night. God bless. Happy Halloween, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. We will see everyone next week. Cheers.